Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee with Chem and Hills. It is Wednesday. We're halfway through. We're halfway through. And we're also back to really cold weather because I feel like we got a taste of warm weather over the weekend.
It was so nice.
It was, people get so excited, they take it a little too far. I had to run some errands with the baby, and there were some girls in like the little shorts and everything, and I was like, it's not that hot out. I mean, it is warmer, but sheesh.
I actually saw a gentleman running in shorts and no shirt.
It was probably my husband.
And I was like, wow, that's aggressive.
That is aggressive.
It wasn't, good for you. More power to you. But it seemed a little bit chilly to be doing that, in my opinion. But
no, I agree.
I run cold, so.
Yeah. I just think everyone right now is at the point where we're over it, and we're so desperate and ready for like the warm weather to come in, even though we still have a ways to go, let's be honest. But it was nice to have that little, like, it really does lift your spirits a little bit, doesn't it?
It does a lot for the spirits.
Yeah.
And then I'm talking to my family and friends who live in Northern California, and they're like, it's 70 degrees. Oh, it's 80 in San Francisco today, which 80 in San Francisco feels like 100 degrees, and people just don't go outside because they aren't used to it.
Right. Exactly.
And I was just like, I can't wait for summer.
I know. We'll get there.
Yeah.
And we'll be celebrating over here. Yes, we will. But alas, we're still in February, and it's all right because we have some hot topics today.
Hot topics.
Let's get it. Let's dive right in. All right, today's topic is so juicy that we're just going to be talking about this one topic. Well, we will be talking about the business of, and that is a hot topic in itself. But I just thought this whole article in general was fascinating and just crazy. And it's from Money Talks News, 7 Wild But True Inheritance Tales.
And you hear these stories and then you don't think that they're true.
Oh, yeah.
And when you read about them and a valid news source, you're like, people can do what they want with their money. And it's very surprising what some people do.
I think...
Which one was your favorite?
I actually think it's the first one.
It's true.
So, a Portuguese aristocrat selected random people from the Lisbon telephone directory to be his heirs. Yep. He picked them in the presence of 2 witnesses, 13 years before his death. Like, he was excited about this. He's like, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to surprise them. But what if... My only thing with this is, like, what if you picked, like, horrible people and you just don't know?
I did not think of that. In my mind's eye, when I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, how nice. I'm sure
kind of, like, romanticized
just randomly
what
picked
it would be.
Somebody who really needed it at that time.
Yeah, that's what you hope, right?
Right, yeah, that's what you hope. But yes, in the mix of however many people he chose, probably there were 1 or 2 that might
you don't know, do you?
Yeah,
You're like, or they could already be like multi-billionaires or something.
Right.
You don't know their story.
Nope.
But what? Like,
also, phone books. What?
I know. I was going to ask that, but I didn't want to seem like, do they still exist? Phone books?
Well, this was 13 years before his death, so at least 13 years ago, we still used them.
But do they exist now?
I don't think that they send them out.
I know I don't have
as
a phone
physical
book.
one anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like the last ones I got were probably at least 10 years ago.
Yeah. I don't even remember the last time I've seen a phone book. I was old enough to remember them and remember using them to order pizza or something,
Yes.
But wow, how lucky these people.
And some of these people didn't believe. They thought they were getting scammed, which... is valid. I definitely would have thought the same thing.
Yeah. As we've learned with these, scammers, this is pretty much like this story is in alignment with kind of what they would do, right?
Yeah.
It's like an elaborate, ridiculous story. Hey, send me your bank account information. I'm going to give you all this cash. I've actually gotten a couple of texts like that.
Wow.
Yep. From, billionaires.
Yes.
Do you think it's real? It's not real.
Definitely real. Definitely real.
And yeah, I've gotten text messages, I think 2 times now, where it's, random billionaire randomly selecting people to just gift all of this money to. I know it's a scam, but I still read it and I'm like, that would be so nice.
It would be. It would be very nice.
So those people are They're sitting pretty. Mm-hmm. They're sitting real pretty. I wonder if they, like, if any of them didn't accept it, or, why wouldn't they?
I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, I would imagine they eventually tracked them. So my favorite one was the grandmother whose fortune went to two homeless grandsons.
Yep.
The grandsons were living in Hungary in a cave at the time, and after her death, they tracked them down and were able to give them the money. And, you think of this being, okay, maybe there's $100,000 or like so a chunk of change, obviously enough for somebody to go looking for the heirs.
Right.
But not a lot. And no, it was a $5 billion fortune. Billion.
That's crazy.
Billion. That the grandsons were living homeless.
That's the thing about these stories, though. It's like, now you want more details.
Right.
What was the relationship between the grandma and these boys?
Right.
She left it for them. So she knows they exist. Why then if they have a rich grandma, why are they on the streets? Like,
right.
What happened? Yeah. Where's the documentary? Someone pick this up. I need to know the details. It's just too good. There should be a whole documentary on all of this.
I think so.
Another completely ridiculous one. Oh, it's titled A Very Pampered Pooch. And I'm sure you already know where I'm going with this. But a New York City billionaire woman left $12 million to her little white Maltese named Trouble. Yeah, $12 million. Well, the judge reduced that to $2 million after she died.
Apparently dogs don't need $12 million to enjoy their life of luxury.
No, but don't worry. Trouble was still living the sweet life. Trouble had a caretaker tending to all of her needs at a whopping $100,000 a year until her death. Yeah. What was she doing?
You make sure that dog is healthy and groomed and...
Oh my gosh, can you imagine that dog's dog bed? It's probably bigger than our beds combined.
My house.
Yeah, right. Yep, that is one lucky Pooch.
Well, there was also a lucky cat.
That's right.
An alley cat to top cat. Maria Ascenta in Rome didn't even adopt an alley cat, but just loved it.
Dearly.
And wrote in her will that they needed to take care of the alley cat. Now, Tommaso, the alley cat, could not inherit the money himself. Yeah. So the money was given to a charity.
They actually have rules about that in Rome, whereas in the States they're like, oh, you want to give your puppy
$12 million? $2 million's fine.
Yeah.
$2 million's fine. Yeah.
But in Rome they're like, no. But some lucky lady, though, that she met in the dog park, like, a couple days prior to her death or something, ended up getting this large chunk of change.
Ended up being the caretaker, and then...
It's a fellow cat lover, pet lover that she met.
So you never know who you're going to meet at the dog park.
Be nice to people at the dog park. Yep. That's the moral of the story. Be nice to people at the dog park.
One of the most interesting ones to me was treasure lurking in an old family trunk.
Yep.
And for me,
pants.
Yeah, I work in fashion, and so and also from San Francisco, so Levi's are a really big thing. And a great grandson, so a pioneer, had passed down a trunk of clothes
that looked
over
like
the years.
a treasure chest. Really.
Yeah. And it turns out there was a pair of Levi's in there from pre-1901, and they knew that because it only had one back pocket. After 1901, they have two back pockets because you wanted to be symmetrical, I guess.
That's right.
Before then, you just weren't carrying around enough stuff. So I guess you didn't need as much stuff with you before 1901. But once 1901 hit, you're like, I need two pockets.
Well, that's because, cell phones weren't around then. People were accumulating things. They needed two pockets.
Yeah. But Levi's paid $100,000 for the pair.
That's right. But didn't they initially offer $50,000 for them, and he waited for a better deal and ended up getting. He was like, I know the worth of these jeans.
Right? Might as well, right?
That's exciting. I don't even know if I would think to do anything if I found some jeans in a trunk. I'd be like, oh, I found a treasure trunk.
Right.
And there's jeans. And I'd have been missing out on a lot of money.
Yep.
Oh boy. Okay, don't worry, we have more. The feng shui. Is that how you say it? Can you speak to me through the camera and let me know if that's how you say it?
Tell us in the comments how you pronounce
feng shui.
Feng shui.
So a Hong Kong tycoon allegedly had signed over her fortune to a feng shui master because he promised her eternal life.
This was a $12 billion fortune, and it turns out that the paperwork was forged. So the family fought it in court and ended up getting the money.
12 years, right?
Yeah.
12 years? Prison.
Yeah. So
I think that's funny, though. I'll give you eternal life if you give me your money.
I mean, it seems like a pretty good deal for him.
Yeah, right? I mean, he went for it.
Right.
I mean, eternal life, though?
Right.
I don't know. It's appealing, isn't it? Yes. So, yeah, there you have it. The 7 wild but true inheritance tales. And they are wild. So, all right. So that is it for, well, this portion of Hot Topics, because our second half is going to be focusing on the business of. So you won't want to miss it. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. All right. We are going to dive into today's episode of The Business of, and who better to tell us than the interviewer? Yeah, the interviewer. Interviewee, interviewer herself, Hillary. So tell us, what is today's episode about?
So today's episode was really fun. We went to Black Horse Garage in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and got to talk to John Buonanno, who owns this classic car restoration, storage, and sales company.
Wow.
And it was so cool being there. I am not well-versed, shall we say, on cars and what makes a certain car cool or whatnot.
Yeah.
But it was he has amazing inventory there, and
So you got to see all of it?
I got to see all of it.
That is
they
so
had
cool.
a Ford Model T original that they were in the process of actually restoring, and it was so interesting to see and to hear the passion that John has for the business.
Yeah.
He really talks about how every car has a story. And he was telling us about the Model T and how, back then cars were called horseless carriages.
Right.
And you can see why. Because it literally looked like a horseless carriage. It was a carriage that has a motor in the front instead of being, it was just so cool.
Oh, people are going to geek out over this for sure.
And all the little pieces and just the craftsmanship that went into cars back then.
Like the detail, right?
The detail. I mean, still there's wonderful craftsmanship out there these days, but just, everything.
Yep.
And it was just so beautiful and just so many cool stories, but the company was started by his father way back in the day. It's a 45-year-old company, and he has taken it over. And there's just really some interesting twists and turns in how some of the headwinds he's up against, and then also how the car market has changed just in the last few years. And so it's a really interesting episode, a really great interview.
I love that you got to go there and actually see all of this. That is so cool. I can't wait to see this tonight.
I even got to go sit in a Lamborghini.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was really cool. What? I was terrified, but
you're like, don't touch anything.
Don't break it.
I know.
But it was, he could not have been more gracious, and it was really cool to see all the cars and just learn more about that business, because it's such a different business. Totally. He's almost like an art dealer these days, because the valuations for some cars have gone crazy. Yeah. And it was just a really cool interview.
Oh, I'm so excited to watch it. So I feel like everyone's going to love this episode. There's a lot of car people.
There are a lot of car people. So you should definitely check it out. It's only available here on ROI TV.
That's right.
And John
We're pretty exclusive.
Yeah.
So.
So John is going to tell us all about his favorite car, current favorite car, and it's got a sentimental story.
Oh, love it.
For the business of, we are talking with John Buonanno from Black Horse Garage. So John, quick take, what is one of your favorite cars that you currently have?
It's such a hard question. I get it all the time because I love so many different type of cars. So I always find myself getting out of a car, like with a road test and being like, this is my favorite one. But like right now, this is such a great opportunity that we actually have this car. This is a 1963 Ferrari 250 GTE. And my dad restored this car the first year of him opening up Black Horse. And this was like, it did so well. It won the Coppa del Monte, where they have a professional driver drive the car. It's not just show. It was a 100-point car. And then it went back 20 years after the restoration. And that's the true test of a good restoration is how long it lasts, right? The quality of the craftsmanship. And it won again in 20 years. So
Whoa.
This is one of my favorite cars. The sound of the engine, sentimental value, it's like a part of the family.
Yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. So tune in to the business of classic cars if you want to learn more about the car collecting business, or if you just want to see some sweet rides.
It is Healthy Wealthy Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, and we are getting healthy, wealthy, and wise.
That's right. We're going to talk about financial wellness. And we're going to get some tips from Hillary.
Yep. So our tip this week is to track your spending so you know where your money is going. This is kind of the first step in figuring out setting up a budget that will actually work for you, and figuring out where, if you feel like you need to pull back, you know where you're spending your money, so you know where you can pull back.
Right. So would you do it in like an app? Do they have apps?
There's lots of apps that you can use.
Of course there are.
There's a couple different ones out there that are free. There's some that you can pay for, and you can either link your card or tap it in whenever you want to. I personally prefer like a good old spreadsheet, but that's just because
that's what you're used to, and you know how to navigate that spreadsheet.
Exactly.
That's fine.
I use them a lot.
Some people use your notebook.
Yeah. Use a notebook wherever it makes sense for you.
Yes.
But that way you can see where your money is going, because that is always an eye-opening experience.
For sure.
Where you're like, oh, I didn't realize this was so expensive, or I didn't realize I was spending $1,000 on groceries a month when I really probably could be spending $300. I feel like saying that that's my personal experience, but just saying
She's
like
saying
there's.
it's a personal experience.
I'm just saying. Just saying.
I feel like New Yorkers have a coffee thing where, because you're out walking around, there's so many cute coffee shops. Obviously, there's Starbucks, whatever, and people don't realize how much they're just spending on something seemingly small like coffee. Actually, though, a month or a year, and it's crazy. Like if you just cut back on that,
Yeah, exactly.
Bring your own to go, and you'll be saving a pretty penny before you know it.
I mean, I think an interesting thing not that it's the same, but there was one time in my life where I wanted to get into shape, so I was trying to have some physical wellness, and so what I did was start to track what I was eating.
Right.
And I found that I was eating very large Mexican meals. I was having burritos at least once a day.
Sounds delicious.
It was amazing, but I figured out that by just going down to 2 days a week, which didn't feel like it was taking anything away from me.
Like cut the calories in half.
It was a very easy way to just cut it out.
Yeah. I mean, burritos are they're packed with like Chipotle. They don't mess around.
Nope.
You get that burrito and you're gonna need a fork and knife. This is not an in the car situation. You need to get home, get a big plate, and
no, you gotta unwrap it.
Worth.
You gotta unwrap it. You cannot use a fork and knife with a burrito.
It's literally I don't even know how you attempt to attack that.
I will show
when
you
it
the
literally
ways.
It goes. We have to do this at one point.
I will show you the
on
ways.
camera. On camera. I want you to show me how to eat at Chipotle. And we're not like plugging Chipotle here, but I do love it.
I love almost any burrito, but yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, we're gonna
we can do this.
a live burrito eating tutorial with Hillary. If they let us. Put it in the comments.
Yeah.
Say that's what you want to see. We'll make it financial based somehow, right? It'll be, I don't know.
We'll tie it in. Figure it out.
Well, I think that is a great tip for Healthy Wealthy Wednesday. I think we can all apply that tip easily in our lives, and I think we'd all learn a lot about ourselves and our spending habits as well.
Exactly.
So yes, let's remember to focus on our financial wellness. It's a real thing, and there are things that we can do to really help alleviate those financial stresses and worries. So we do love our Healthy Wealthy Wednesday. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to be right back, and I'm going to tell you all about the shows airing today on ROI TV. Welcome back. Today on Estate Planning 101, Scott goes over what happens when a beneficiary dies and what steps you need to take to settle the estate. On today's episode of the Blockchain Interviews, Dan Weiskopf interviews the CEO of Voyager Digital. And of course, we learned about it right here from the source. Don't forget to tune in to another great episode of The Business of. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today on another episode of Coffee with Kem and Hills. Where can everyone watch all of these brilliant shows?
So they're all available on ROI TV, which you can find on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or on your phone, whether you have an Apple or an Android.
Literally everywhere.
Wherever you want to be.
Wherever you want to be, that's right.
So invest in yourself and make sure to catch an episode today.